Wiring centres. I get a lot of requests on our FaceTime channel and installers that come here, and then Sparkies come on Thursdays. Which wiring centre do I use? Because they seem to be confused with the good ones and the bad ones. So sometimes you get it in the box when you buy the whole kit, which is fine, but often not. So first of all, to make a fair test, we're going to use just Honeywell and the S-Plan, because that's the most popular one that we install in this day and age. But we're going to make it a little bit more interesting by adding frost protection into it for those installations where the boiler's in an unheated area, and then we're going to convert into smart as well. So we're still using the same basic unit. So here's a typical junction box from Honeywell. This is the Mark II, larger than the other one, and you can tell that because the live, neutral and earth are considerably larger than these, whereas before it used to be the same size, and that was a challenge. So first of all, they've all got to do the same job. So if we count the components that go in, then we'll have a better idea of what we need. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 components, 8 flexes have got to go into each of our wiring centres correctly and in some sort of orderly fashion. So when we look at the Honeywell one here, which will probably be the market leader, I would imagine. So we can see here that on the live terminal, let's count up the live wires. So we're going to need 1 here and 1 here, so that's 2. But we also have a grey wire on each zone valve. They have to go into terminal 1. So that's 4 wires that we need to go into 1. Page 41 is exactly this, but in colour. So it's much easier to follow which wire goes well. So it clearly shows live has got just 4 wires. The next is neutral blue, so therefore that's going to be a challenge because we've got neutral, 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 neutral. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 neutrals have got to go into this second terminal. That's not going to happen. It's physically impossible. So what you can do is I would suggest 2 things. You can either get a nice thick blue wire and take it from N to terminal 9. Terminal 10 is the boiler switch live, yeah? But 9 is a spare one. It's very handy. So now you could put 3 or 4 blue ones here and 3 or 4 blue ones here. That's one way to solve this problem, and we do this here on our course in that respect. What you can also do is get this little patras, and Mr. Honeywell, if you remove the first one and the last one here, exposes 2 holes which exactly correspond with a single patras. So therefore we can put junction links into here, bank them all up together and just take one out and put it into the second one, blue neutral. So we've only got 2 wires in here instead of 6, etc. Next one is earth. Again, we've got earth, 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 possibly an earth, definitely earth, earth. So we've got another 6 or 7 earths going into here. Same problem, but now we don't really want to link anything out. We'll use a multi-plug in the back and just take out the 1 earth. So we've got 1 from the spur and then 1 from the back here, where they're all linked together safely and isolated and goes into terminal 3. Terminal 4 is heating on, so that'll take its demand from the programmer at the end, central heating on, and goes into here, and then we go in and out, in and out, in and out until we get to 12, which is the boiler live or switch live, depending what the manufacturer has given us to actually fire up the boiler. So that's the challenge for this wiring centre, and it works. It works. Sold by the million, I should think, by the trillion. The only thing I'd like to draw attention to is the fact you don't get a drawing. Whereas other manufacturers, they all provide some sort of piece of paper to say this terminal here, this terminal there. If you buy the box from Honeywell with all the components in, then there should be a leaflet inside it, or you've got to download it from the website, which is really not good enough. I would have thought every wiring centre should have its own wiring leaflet for Y plan and S plan, which includes maybe a few other bits and pieces, and even from marketing or you know, a phone number, email address or website. If you've got problems, boom, get in touch. This is the Wago L32 wiring centre. So at first glance it looks quite clever, because what you've got here are a series of orange strips. You simply lift up one flap, put the wire in, close the flap down, and then all of these are the same sort of voltage, as it were, or the same source that comes into place. Second thing I'm looking at, small. I don't understand this. It's got a big place, but there's lots of wasted areas here. The next thing I'm looking at is cord grips. We've got 8 flexes. You can't put 8 flexes in here in a million years. You might, if you're lucky, to come out the back into here and put a few in, but you know, they're not supported, which is not quite right. So few issues here, to say the least. Now, if we look at the drawing for the S plan, first thing that I notice is that there are only 3 earths. So there's an earth from here, from the spur, earth from the boiler, earth from the pump. But where's the other earths? They're not here at all. They just don't exist. Which I can't understand how they got this approved, because you're supposed to show each colour where it goes, which terminal, and they simply haven't done that. And if you look along here, you know, it can't be done. You're going to have a slave wiring centre, which we've got here, which is fine. It's not a problem. I don't have a problem with having one of these. This makes life a lot easier in that respect. But you can't mount it on here because it can't be. It's almost the same size. It's just a lot of wasted space. That's what the impression I get. What I've had to do is to buy another box from them, and this has got a series of them. And if we look inside here, we've got 2, 3 and 5 terminals. To be honest, 2 is a waste of space because it's 1 in, 1 out. It's neither here nor there in that respect. I would have thought 4, 5 and 6 would have been more like it. And as I said, for nearly £40, that's an expensive way of putting an adapter when these little connector blocks are almost free. They're just at 50 pence or 30 pence for a whole strip, which will do the same job as those. Not as flashy, but it'll still do the same job. So if you're thinking of doing a Wago, you're going to need something, as I said, with our wiring book. So here on page 41 is our basic S plan, which is what we see here. So you're going to be quite clever to join this up with that and with their wiring centre. So on the back of their leaflet it says for DIY people. I wouldn't trust the DIY person anywhere near controls, so why they should advertise that fact, I don't know. To do any of this, you're supposed to come on the course first, learn all the theory and do some practicing, which is what we do here. So I wouldn't allow any DIY person anywhere near electrics in any shape or form. No wonder we've got so many problems in that respect. So anyway, just to sum up, yes, good idea, brilliant. Just the box is badly designed. It's going to be a challenge, to say the least. So basically, it's a thumbs down and maybe 1 out of 10 at the most. This is the Drayton wiring centre, and at first glance looks lovely and big, larger than the Honeywell one, which is, we like big. Big means easy and comfortable. If we look along the bottom, we've got all the cord grips here that we need, because we've got 8 flexes, so we've got nice places to put. We've got our saddles and a couple of links, and we also received some links across the top, depending whether you're doing Y-plan or something else in that respect. So at first glance, we'll look at the connector blocks. Here on the bottom, we've got 6 earth. Then we've got 6 neutrals, which we love. 1 live goes to terminal 11, which is fine. But if we wanted to add, for example, our frostat, it's going to be a tight squeeze. What I would suggest is that from 11, we take a link to 1 and that allows us to put our external wires, the live, so live from there, or if we move over here to smart, we can use, you know, it needs a permanent live and neutral. So there's a permanent live, and I've got 6 neutrals here, and I can piggyback because they're lovely and large. So this we like extremely. Drayton we've always enjoyed because they're good, reliable, no problems at all, no issues in any shape. If we look on the back, everything is clearly marked out, what it does, what its function is, and the location. So for example, if we select heating on, which is terminal 4 there, all we have to look is along here, where does it say heating on? And it says number 9. So 4 goes to 9, and off we go again, and then we put the links in as and when. So the only thing that I found missing here was a piece of paper, instructions. I don't know if it was just this one or something, or I've lost it. I don't know if it was just this one or something, or I've lost it. I don't know, but I would have thought a piece of paper in here to explain the different types of Drayton room thermostats or cylinder stats or smart controls. There would have been a leaflet a little bit richer to promote the other products, and especially if we're going from mains thermostat 230 volts into digital into smart. It would have been nice to do that. So overall, very pleased. The Danfoss wiring centre, we can see here, we've got plenty of room, large, bigger than the Honeywell one, so it makes life a lot easier. So if we look along the bottom, we've got our cables to come in at the bottom with a packet of cable saddles to go across the top. We've got rear entry as well, and also if you look, we've got 2 holes here which coincide with a double pattress, surface mounted, so that can go on here where we can loop extra lengths of wire and then bring them through from the front to go into the various terminals. So starting from the bottom, we've got 6 earth, 6 neutral, and then 1 live is linked to 11. And what I would suggest you do is to get a link from 11 to 1, because if we want to put Frostat into here, it's going to need a permanent live. Well, you've got enough room at 11, you've got enough room here, but there's nothing wrong with, say, adding another live on the top. And the same here, if we go on to wireless or smart, they want a permanent neutral and a permanent live. So therefore, having a spare one over here could be quite handy in that respect. So we've got links across the top, and apart from that, absolutely brilliant. Now with that, also on the lid we've got our same sticky label, so we can see exactly what wire goes where and the function of it is. So you can do Y plans or S plans in here. You just add in the links as marked, which is supplied. So nice and easy and clear. So when we look at our programmer, heating on terminal 4, well then you look along here where it says heating on, and it's number 9. So there we are, that 4 goes to number 9, and then off we go again. So very, very easy. But we also get in the book, in the box, is our wiring. So we've got Y plans and S plans with the variations, and then we've got our 3 zones or extra ones. So we've got nice simple drawings. So this is the first one that we've seen with a proper leaflet inside it. So overall, all I can say is top marks, 10 out of 10 with a gold star, because there's everything here that you want. It doesn't matter if you're not very good at wiring or not very confident with this and the leaflet. You will be, because it's all explained beautifully. So Danfoss, highly recommended. Welcome. No Have a look at our website, mrcombi.com, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel as well. Just to recap the wiring centres, we've got here our Drayton one, so we've got 6 earth neutrals and all the lives, and there's a packet of links to change this from Y plan to S plan or whatever else you're doing. Then we've got the Honeywell wiring center, which is the recommended one for this because it's one socket for one wire. So you can do Y plan or S plan in here. So if you do lack confidence, then this is the one that you always choose, because really I wouldn't have thought you could possibly go wrong. But there is a method in this, there is a sequence in this, which we will tell you and show you. Next on the line that we saw was this Salus one, which I love the size. I like big, so I've got my neutrals, my earths, and again the same sort of barrier strip across the top with the links that we can put in and out depending whether we do a Y plan or an S plan. Then we've got our winner Danfoss, which is the same as the Drayton valve, that we got 6 earth, 6 neutrals, and all our live connections here with an extra packet of links so we can put them in as necessary depending if we're doing Y plan or S plan or 3 zones, whatever. This came out tops simply because it's easy, and more importantly the instruction leaflet that came with it was absolutely brilliant, over the top for all the different plans. So that's why the Danfoss one came out best. Finally, we've got our Wago, which I love the concept. I think this is brilliant, but looking at it, well, as I said, it's small and challenging. So what I'm going to do is my final thoughts on all these wiring centers. We'll start from the smallest and we'll build up to these as well. So the Honeywell, the Mark II, I wouldn't use. There's no drawing, as you can see here, so therefore it's liable for mistakes, and anyone who's good at wiring fault finding, who's been on a course, will find lots and lots of mistakes in here. So therefore we will never be out of work. So not really, junction box and that's it. The Wago has a very good instructions. It gives you a clear indicator which wire goes where, except, as do you remember we said, there's a couple of omissions about the earth wire to the motorized valve. That seems to disappear, but we can get over that. But I love the concept. If you are installing Honeywell, I would just go for this wiring center. It's absolutely brilliant, foolproof. Easy instructions to read on the lid. What more do you need? That's for Honeywell, absolutely brilliant. Salus again, absolutely massive. So if you're installing Salus controls, you've got a nice simple drawing here, and then you've got the other drawing there, Y plan and S plan, and then you can also use this to rewire other people's. Then we've got the Drayton and the Danfoss. So the Drayton in the pack, you get a very good book here on there, and you've got the different plans and the wiring, etc. So there's a lot of thought gone into this one by Mr. Drayton, which we appreciate. Absolutely brilliant. The same junction box we've got from Danfoss, except that here we've got a much larger, more comprehensive drawing for all their other products, which is why, in my opinion, if you're installing Danfoss, use the Danfoss wiring center and nothing else. If you're rewiring a spaghetti junction and the right mess, then Danfoss, Drayton or Salus would be your way forward, because these will flex into anything at all. So it's dead easy, especially here where you've got lots of earths here, lots of neutrals. Lots of earths, lots of neutrals, lots of earths, lots of neutrals. Makes life a simple installation, and most of all, because we have such a huge demand on breakdowns, systems out of control, and then we're adding another zone, frost protection. Here we can do that without the slightest problem. You can't add anything to this one at all, and you can't add anything to the Wago, and you definitely don't want to be wiring extra stuff into here, because that is really advanced and you need to be extremely good at this one. So that's my conclusion. That's my top. These two are second for installations. If you're Honeywell, as I said, recap, only buy this, don't buy anything else at all for Honeywell. This is bulletproof and designed to be that way. So I hope you've enjoyed the videos, and don't forget to subscribe down to the bottom somewhere to our YouTube channel. And if you'd like to learn all about these wiring centers and how to wire them up and give you that confidence, that we will do that for you here. Just get in touch on the website, mrcombi.com. Please like and subscribe to our channel if you haven't done so already, because it really does help us out. And if you have a question or a comment about central heating, then please leave them down below. All the best and take care.